70,000 people are here, and Bob Dylan is the reason for it.
Inspired by the true story.
For anyone who's gonna hold your attention on a stage, you have to kind of be a freak.
Are you a freak?
Hope so.
And starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He defied everyone.
Turn it down!
Play loud!
To change everything.
Make some noise, BD.
Timothy Chalamet, Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro. A complete unknown. Only in theaters Christmas Day. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
I wanted to be with you guys so badly. But this thing isn't what I thought it was.
Look, bad things are gonna happen. It makes us who we are. But good things happen too, you know? Like you happen.
Hello and welcome to Unequal Sequel. My name is Dave and I'm one of the two hosts of this calming podcast.
And I'm Rich, and I'm the other host of this calming podcast. Think of me as Toothless to Dave's Hiccup. I'm a wild dragon, and he's done his best to tame me.
So I like that one. That's good. The premise of Unequal Sequel is very simple. We ask our guests their best ever sequel, worst ever sequel, and finally their dream sequel.
And of course, we'll often drift off and talk about other things. Sometimes movies, sometimes life in general.
And sometimes we do drop big fat spoilers to films you may not have seen, more recent sequels. If that happens, pause, skip forward, go wrap your Christmas presents. It's definitely time to wrap the Christmas presents. Now is the time to wrap the Christmas presents. Because on today's episode, we are joined by Huge Davies.
Huge is one of the country's best stand-up comedians. You can check him out on his tour at the moment. Also, you can go onto YouTube and watch Comedians Watch the Worst, where he watches some of the worst movies on Rotten Tomatoes. And you can go and listen to him on his podcast, the Slime Country Podcast, where him and a few other comedians talk about fan fiction, and it's hilarious.
We're very excited to sit down with Huge and chat all things sequels with him.
These are Huge Davies's Unequal Sequels. Enjoy.
We do have a quick question before the main question to get the brain warmed up, which is, what is the first sequel you remember seeing and getting excited about?
Probably episode one probably counts as a sequel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a prequel, but it is a sequel.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that in cinemas. I was blown away when I was a kid. I was blown away. I was just like, I think I saw the double lightsaber in the trailer.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I couldn't like take how exciting that was to see a double lightsaber like that. I think I was just like I was probably quite annoying. My brother took me to the cinemas to see that, and I think I must have been quite annoying.
Okay.
Also, Lord of the Rings too, because when I saw Lord of the Rings, I didn't know that I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't realize it was 3 films.
Okay.
Oh,
so I finished the Fellowship of the Ring, and I was furious. Like I was like because I don't think I'd ever seen a film that just hadn't ended. Like
right.
The film finishes and it's not resolved.
Yeah.
So I was fucking furious.
And that's like every film in the last couple of years then. Like,
yeah.
You sit down to watch a film that's like part 1. You're like, oh, what? Where's that come from?
I read The Two Towers the next day.
Okay.
I was like, we need to find out.
So you enjoyed it then, the first one?
Oh yeah, big time. But I was just like, they've not chucked the ring into the...
Yeah.
Why haven't they chucked the ring into the volcano?
I went to the cinema with someone, my mate Sid, who did the same thing, who leant over to me about 10 minutes to go and went, they're going to have to wrap this up pretty quickly. And then it ended. And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, there's 2 more. There's 2 more big books and movies coming.
Big time.
How old were you at that point? And the first one and the second one, as in the Phantom Menace and the Return to King?
I was pretty young when I watched episode 1. I remember seeing that in cinemas. I don't really have a memory of the actual film. I just remember being very excited by it, and I remember leaving the cinema and being quite. I was just like hopping about, and then I wasn't that young. I don't think I was that young for Fellowship of the Ring, but I was really liked it, and I was furious that no one had told me that it was part.
No, it's understandable.
1 of 3. Yeah, really, really annoyed.
So when you came out of Phantom Menace, were you were excited? You thought it was good at that point?
Oh yeah, I thought it was the best thing I've ever seen. I mean, I still have people of my age, like, I really like that film. People go on about the all the boring stuff and the bad things, and all the things that people are saying are correct. Like, I understand. It's but I like all those things. Like, it's for me. It was. There's like, it's horrible film. Horrible film about trade routes. Just really bad acting. Jar Jar Binks is unbearable.
Yep.
But I like. It's a perfect film. It's also a perfect film.
I think when you watch it next to like Attack of the Clones, then you're like, oh no, Phantom Menace is a masterpiece compared to this.
It's true. People think that episode 1 is the worst.
It's not.
Attack of the Clones is so much worse, so much worse. But then even then, like, I've come to love Attack of the Clones too.
Oh yeah.
I think that in maybe 20 years' time, everyone's going to sit down. The families at Christmas are going to sit down and watch episode 9 together and go like, "This is a classic movie," because it just needs time. Over time, we'll go, yeah, it does make sense that there's like the Emperor comes back. We don't care. It's Star Wars. That's just part of Star Wars. Right now, society won't accept that the Emperor was in episode 9, and is that everyone's deleted that from their head.
Yeah.
20 years' time, we'll be like, of course it was perfect. That was perfect.
Do you really think that? No, come on.
When episode 2 came out, there is literally zero chance of anyone being like, oh, people are going to like cheer when Hayden Christensen comes out on stage.
That's true. That's like, really true.
You couldn't ever predict that. And people being like, please come back and play Darth Vader. Fans begging him, please come back. He was like, people hated him. He like literally finished his career. Like, he was a promising young actor, and he didn't really act after that.
No, you're right.
I just think that you just got to give things time, and people are going to back me like, John Boyega smashed those films. John Boyega's Daisy Ridley, the chemistry. I'd love the fact that they didn't have any chemistry. I love the fact that they weren't friends for the whole 3 movies. Crazy. There's no chemistry between anyone in those films.
And they didn't answer any of the big questions or anything. It's like, Finn, I've got something to tell you.
Yeah, I love the dagger thing. I love that. People will say that later, guaranteed.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah.
So are you a big film fan now then?
Oh yeah, I used to.
It sounds like you don't believe there's a bad film.
I actually did a series called Comedians Watch the Worst, in which I watched the 100 worst rated films on Rotten Tomatoes in a row.
Wow!
Oh, wow! Okay.
Oh, wow!
And I think people think they've seen a bad film. They've not seen a bad film. I think people see a bad film. They think they see a bad film. And they look. If you check the Rotten Tomato score, that film's normally coming in about 50%, 60%.
Yeah.
No one has ever seen a 4% film. No one has ever seen a 1% film on Rotten Tomatoes.
True,
and I've seen them.
True.
I've seen them all. It's like I'm grateful that I did that. I mean, it was hard to do it.
Yeah.
But now I watch films with. I'm grateful. So often you think you just like a film, you're like, so like, for example, recently I watched The Substance.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great movie, but the script was terrible. And it was really boring. It was really annoying me. And I think for a lot of people that would be like, it's a bad film. I go, no. The bad film is like, not only the script has to be bad, the casting has to be bad, the directing has to be bad, the production has to be terrible, the film has to be too long, the characters don't make sense. You have to hate all the characters too. The plot doesn't go anywhere. Like, all these things happen in a 3% film. And now I watch a film and I go, if there's one thing wrong, I'm grateful.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. There's one thing wrong with
that's good. Like, we've got some friends who do a podcast called W Rated, and they do exactly that. Their podcast is watching the worst rated movies. And I don't think I could do that. We watch enough bad sequels as it is.
Yeah, people would leave some people left the podcast. Like, people would like I remember I did one. Do you know there's a comedian called Janine Haruni?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
We watched a film with her called Dungeon Siege by Uwe Boll. I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
We are.
But I'm like very close friends with her. She like couldn't almost look me in the eye after that. Like she couldn't hug me. Like she's just like so ungrateful for the experience of watching this film. Like it's crazy because Uwe Boll. That's interesting about him is he all of his films they don't make above the 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. But they're huge, they're big budget. They're like, these are £200 million movies. And they're very popular somewhere. They must be because they make money. They make a lot of money. But no one can figure out why. It's like a sort of a loophole. It's like the Matrix. There's like a glitch in the Matrix. Like no one knows how he keeps making films. No one knows. It's just crazy.
It must be a tax thing, surely.
Maybe, yeah, sure. But it's also like, these actors aren't stupid. Even Jason Statham isn't stupid enough to go into a film and be like, I think I'm going to play a farmer, and that farmer's called Farmer. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, films are bad. There's a film, Jason Statham plays a farmer called Farmer, and his weapon is a boomerang. It doesn't make any sense.
Is that
crazy?
Is that the one that's got like Ray Liotta in it? Like,
it's got Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
There's about 3 of them, isn't there? No one's picked them yet.
Yeah, they're great. I've seen most of them. Yeah, fantastic. They're 3 hours long too. It's like properly. He really takes his time to show you a movie that doesn't make any sense.
Oh well, amazing. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get on to the first question. What is your best sequel?
Oh, best sequel. I saw Spider-Man. Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the
Lovely
Spider-Verse.
choice. Yeah, it's a cracking choice.
It was my favourite film of last year.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I think it's like, it feels almost embarrassing to say that was my favourite film of last year. It's so good. It's so good. I watched it I actually watched it last week. I think I watched it last week again. So I think that's why it's in my head. Maybe it's not my favourite sequel of all time, but I think I watched it and I was like, I think this film is like a perfect film.
Yeah,
and I actually love the fact that it's unresolved at the end. I was
going to say, doesn't that?
Yeah. I think I've matured now, so I'm not a screaming 9-year-old, and I'm like, okay, well, some things you can wait for. And by the looks of this production, we're never going to see the third film ever because all the animators have gone on strike or whatever. But I just thought it was great. Soundtrack was fantastic. I think that I love movies that there were so many things that paid off throughout the movie. So things that are paid off in the first film and then within the film itself. The structure was fantastic. Yeah, cast were great. I love the Spot. He's great. Yeah, I liked everything about this movie. Thought the animation was incredible. I think even the opening sequence, the job that went into the animation, the opening sequence is probably more hard work than most people put into most feature-length films.
You can see why the animators had a bit of a breakdown. And they were like, we need more time to do the third one.
Yeah, because after it came out, they were like, the third part's coming in 2024. And all the animators were like, no, it's fucking not.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't want them to do it in 2024.
No.
But
or 2025 at this rate, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's going to be taking the time. Were you a fan of the first one then, Into the Spider-Verse?
Oh, yeah, big. Well, I was going to the second one, because I didn't think they could do a better job than the first one. Because I thought the first one was probably the best Spider-Man film there is. And then I was going with the second one, kind of, I sort of with a sort of reticence of being like, I'm going to be disappointed by this. Maybe that's fine, but you know what? It's okay. It will look good. It will look good, and Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man. It was better than the first one, in my opinion. So
okay,
I was why I was like, it's even better. Yeah, I think it just it's great. I love it. It's very funny. I love all the references to, like they like all the references to all the other films. Yeah, it's just perfect. For me, I watched it and in the cinema when it ended.
Yeah,
I went to go watch it with my old flatmate. We were just like stunned it was like we were like, whoa. And sometimes you finish a film and you just sort of sit there. You're like, wow. That was like the crescendo. I remember I had that when I watched Whiplash in the cinema.
Yeah.
The last 15 minutes of Whiplash was like the best ending to a film I've ever seen. Just the completely nothing said for the last 15 minutes. It's just that drum solo, and so many things are paid off musically within that thing, and then it just finishes on a bam. and then it's like you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
But that's how I felt at the end of Spider-Man.
Are you a Spider-Man fan? Like, do you like the other movies, or could you not give it a toss?
No, I like other Spider-Man films. The Andrew Garfield ones are not great, but he's good.
Yeah.
He actually he came to see me do stand-up once.
Oh,
really?
I think, yeah. He was there and he came backstage and said hello.
Nice.
sweet. Was he nice?
He was nice, really nice. You know, well, he didn't say we don't have much to say to each other. He just said, "Oh, really enjoyed that. I think it was the routine about gladiators or something."
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. And I said, "Oh, thank you, Spider-Man." I think because he was in a relationship with another comedian that I'm friends with at the time,
Right?
And that she was there, and then he was there too. So actually, by me saying that he came to see me perform stand-up comedy, that's not true.
He came to see
his girlfriend perform stand-up comedy, and I was at their gig, and then at the end, he came to the green room and said hello. So So actually thinking it through, that is exactly what happened.
But he has seen you do stand-up comedy.
No, but
so,
he stayed, and he said he came backstage. Sure. Was I in the same green room as his girlfriend? 100%.
Yeah.
Did he come into my green room specifically? No. Yeah.
Well, at least you were both there.
Exactly.
So what? We were both there, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
We both are alive on planet Earth, and in that way, we have a special connection.
I bet he thinks about it.
Spider-Man, he thinks about me all the time. Yeah.
When that first Spider-Man animated film got announced,
yeah,
are you one of these people like me who was like, why do we need a Spider-Man cartoon?
Oh,
100%. And then it turned out to be the best thing ever.
Yeah, I was like, just release Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
Throw money at Tobey Maguire, make him do it. You know, that's what I want. But yeah, but I think it goes to show, I think that's what's great about it as well, because it has no right to be good. You know, people are bored of superhero films. People are bored of the multiverse. People are bored. This concept is just boring audiences worldwide, and it has been boring audiences worldwide for years. And they still managed to pull it off, make it interesting, and make it accessible for people who don't even like Spider-Man. I've shown the film Into the Spider-Verse for people who hate Spider-Man. They love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, my flatmate was one of those people. She hates Spider-Man. She hates superheroes. She hates Marvel. And I showed it to her, and she was like, "We need to go to the cinema to watch this second one." You know?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And what did she think?
It's like kicked off this whole like resurgence for animation, hasn't it? Like once we got Spider-Verse, then animation stuff like kicked up a gear.
Well, people realise that Pixar have been
lazy,
such a monopoly. Yeah, and it's you go. Actually, your films all look the same.
Yeah,
and it didn't really occur to anyone before that their films all look the same because they've got different characters, different worlds. It's like no, and then like things like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film that came out was great.
That was great.
And they all looked, and then Mitchell's versus the Machines was great too.
Yeah,
that was great. Yeah, that was great.
And even like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Like, who saw that coming? Like, did not see that coming at all.
Puss in Boots 2 is fantastic. Yeah, I watched a film yesterday which I actually didn't like, which is the Wild Robot.
You didn't like it?
Nah.
Oh, why?
I thought it looked great. I just thought it was
great.
I think it was. For me, I was like, it's telling me what to do. You know, it's telling me
okay.
It's very much like there's a lot of things that happen in it where there's like, I felt like I was watching. So one thing, I thought I was watching a montage of a film. It was they're taking too much time and trying to fit it into a kid's hour-and-a-half film. So for me, I was watching like a montage of a film rather than actual film. There's also a lot of like, someone will be sad and they'll go, and then the character will just say, "Oh, I'm sad because the forest got burnt down and I don't have a home now." And then the other character will be like, "Well, I've got a home and you can be in there and the animals can live together in there and then we can all love and respect each other." I'm like, I know it's for kids, but don't,
I mean, that does happen, but it is. I thought it was also really well done.
No, I hated it. I think that it was like and also I think the trope of a robot in a film being like, robots trying to understand humans.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, like, I'm just trying to understand, what is this? Is this happiness? And it's like, I'm bored of robots being like, the trope of a robot becoming human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair
I
enough.
think it's overdone, and I've seen it. I'm like, I was watching the film, and I was like, I want to watch Wally.
I haven't seen
Wally,
it, but I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, it's just Wally then, right? Like,
Yeah,
let's just
Wally.
watch that.
With Across the Spider-Verse, that is the second one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the ending coming?
I didn't know there was a 3-minute film, so I didn't realize that. No, I didn't know that there was going to be a third film.
Oh, okay. So this is one of those moments.
Yeah, so I was also looking at my watch, being like, "Fuck it out, I'm gonna wrap this up."
It's long.
Me too.
But I'm so used to seeing films in which I watch a lot of movies, and I think I can suss out most films at this point. And sometimes it's like I do it a lot with comedy because I've seen so much comedy. The only time I'm enjoying a comedy really is when I don't know how the comedian is doing it. But normally I can figure out there's tricks and there's their influences of that. With movies, when I'm really surprised by something, I really like it and I don't know how anything is done. So I was like, the fact that it snuck up on me, I really liked, because I get in my head about stuff. I kind of try and figure movies out as I'm watching them. I rarely just sit back and go like, cool. I normally go, that's it. I wonder at what point. I watched 19 Mendes movie, the 1917 one.
Yeah.
All the way through the movie, I was like, right, I'm just going to try and find out where the quick cuts are.
Does that annoy you?
Through. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I didn't care. I wish I just... Most people watch 1917 and not even know that it was a one-shot film.
Yeah.
Most people don't even realise it was all a one-shot. But I'd read about it, and I know it's impossible to film a whole film in a one-shot. So I'm like, well, I'm going to find out where the quick cuts are. And I got every single one. And I came out of the film completely unsatisfied. Yeah, sure.
I do exactly the same. Exactly the same. My brain is always trying to figure this film out, every time. And I think it pisses Dave off, because I was like, oh, saw that coming. He's like, no, you didn't. You can't have. I was like, well,
yeah, 100%.
Well, yeah, I didn't see the end of this film, as in the twist that he ended up in the wrong universe coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one, because Rich did. Did you not, Rich?
Yeah.
I think because the film is so loud, I think that's the right word for it. The film is loud.
No, it is loud.
And normally when a film is bombarding you all the time with just loads of information, I tend to just sort of not really try and figure it out. I'm just let it. That's one of the things. Let it play. Yeah. Because there's no point me trying to just grab onto everything. I'm not saying it's the most complicated film to understand, but it's so, the action is, it jumps about so much. There are so many characters. I tend to just at that point just let go and just watch the film. So cool. I was I'm kind of happy for the film to take me in the narrative it wants to take me. Where if the film was quite slow paced and boring, I feel like I might have worked it out. But because it was just it's just the soundtrack is overwhelming and the animation is overwhelming.
Yeah, it doesn't give you it doesn't give you a chance to do it. It just takes you on it. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Same with the Lego movie as well. The Lego movie is really unexpected how good that film was, but the tone of that film. I thought this was going to be a bad film, so I went into that cinema on drugs. The worst mistake I've ever made is to watch the Lego movie on drugs. I mean, I almost died. It's and you know what? People say there's expression with films that I really don't like, where they say, "Oh, imagine watching that on shrooms or something." No, you said that. That means the film doesn't need to be watched on shrooms. Take a boring film. Take episode 2. Watch that on shrooms. That's what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Take episode.
That would make it a lot better.
On shrooms. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't need to watch the Lego movie on shrooms because you will die. You'll phone your mum and you'll say goodbye. This is the end. I'm going to die.
Amazing.
Brilliant. do you have a favourite part of Across the Spider-Verse? Try to keep this on track.
I think the let me think. There's lots of good bits to it. What's my favorite bit of that movie? I think I like the end, not just purely because it was I like when the drums come back in.
Yes.
Which is I love it when films finish where they start, and it was with the Gwen stuff at the beginning, and I love the crescendo of the music, and then it was so cool. They like kept all the Spider-Man from the first film till the end, and you're like, oh great, really great payoff. I loved it. And then I liked seeing like a alternate version of Miles. At the end, that end is so cool.
It's like the return of the Empire Strikes Back of the.
It is, yeah, yeah. My flatmate was trying to say to me that she hates middle movies because they don't finish. And then I had a big argument with her after that. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, no good film is the middle movie. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
Empire. Come on.
yeah, exactly.
I get where that comes from. Like, middle movies can be a bit dissatisfying, but also you get the license to do it differently. The baddies can win in a middle movie. They can't win in the first one or the last one, but they can win in a middle one. That makes them so much better.
That's why Infinity War was good. Marvel's so, boring. But then, like, you get a movie in which the bad guy wins and you've got to wait a year for it to resolve. And that was, like, fresh for Marvel.
Yeah.
That's why that film did so well, because everyone was like, oh, it's different. It's something different.
Yeah.
That's great.
Where do you think that last Spider-Man film's going to go? The one that might not happen. What do you want from it?
I think I know what's going to happen.
Okay.
I think that the story ends with Miles. They basically say you can't interfere with you can't save your dad because the whole world will crumble.
Yeah.
Because it's not part of the Spider-Man canon. But because Miles is not originally a Spider-Man, he was never meant to be a Spider-Man. It wouldn't matter whether they fuck with the canon or not because he's not meant to be a Spider-Man. So he can actually save his dad. That's what I feel it is. Because he's not meant to be a Spider-Man. That's what I think will happen, and he will save his dad. Also, there is a slight plot hole. I will say there's a plot hole in Across the Spider-Verse, which is that they're all talking about how someone dies in their past, and that changes who they are. And that's important for all the Spider people that someone dies in their family. For some people, it's Uncle Ben. For some people, it's the Captain.
Yeah.
Some people it's Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker. Like for Gwen, it was Peter Parker. But that already happened in the first film. Like Miles's uncle died.
Yeah.
Which was his Uncle Ben. And then from that, he then became Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like he's then he's like at the end of the first Spider-Man film, he is Spider-Man and he's become Spider-Man because his uncle died. As is every movie, your uncle dies or your dad dies or whatever. So it seemed weird that in the next movie they were like, oh, this needs to happen. You need to go through some sort of like big family loss for you to move on. But he's already done that in the first film.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. I didn't really understand why that, because it was that was his Uncle Ben basically.
Yeah, well, it is.
It's the Uncle Ben arc, but for Miles. So I didn't understand why. But I think it's almost the thing, and the film is so good, I just don't care.
Okay, good.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, if the film is really, really good, I don't bother by this. I'd rather film existed.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
I've got another little question for you, which is, what has been the most disappointing sequel you've ever watched? This is not the worst one, but it is the most disappointing. It doesn't even have to be a bad sequel, but you went in high and you came out low.
Disappointing sequel. So I recently watched all the Twilights in a row.
Okay, you love punishment.
Yeah, I've never seen them.
Yeah.
My housemate was like, "You've never seen them?" I was like, "No, I've never seen them." She was like, "Well, you got to see it. You have to see them." I kind of agreed. You have to kind of see them.
Oh, we've seen them now. Yeah.
Yeah. So we watched all of them. So the first Twilight movie was one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I was like, I know it's a sort of meme that it's bad, and you know, I didn't really believe. You know, it's like this is just like people jumping on a bandwagon of da 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 da. It's really bad. It's bad.
Really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, very bad. And I was it's filmed, so it's a very ugly film. Film is, you know, there's these constant like shots where the camera is like doing that, like it's 2001: A Space Odyssey. All the angles of it are like it's like really ugly movie.
And it's deliberately colourless as well. It's really kind of grey and dull.
It gave me an actual headache watching it. Like I felt sick. I've never watched a food movie and felt sick before. Do you know what I mean? I had to take a break. I had to take a break from the movie and have a cigarette. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
The movie being so bad and ugly that you have to give yourself cancer as a relief.
And that was only the first one.
That was only the first one. And so the second one, I was like, right, so this film has done well. It earned an insane amount of money from the first film. They have the budget to make the second one good, right? The second one is even worse than the first one. And it's almost impossible. It's like, I'm so angry because so I've made a sitcom. I know, like what it's like to, have a really small budget and you have to make the best out of everything. And, it was 4 years work that we put into this thing. And, you can't squander it's a privilege to be able to make something.
Yeah.
Like, it's a privilege. No one gets to make a film or a series of something they're really passionate about. So when I watch films like New Moon, I'm furious because there's clearly no thought that's gone in. There's no thought that's gone into a lot of it. It's just people just don't care about their work. It's just people making a quick buck. And it was terrible. I watched the second film and I was like, I missed the camera angles. Because at least there was some personality to it. There was like, okay, it's gone for this weird thing. At least it's tried.
Yeah.
This film did not even try.
Is New Moon the one where there's like 5 minutes of her sat in a chair and it just says the different months? Like, it just flashes the different months. I'm like,
there's a shot of her going around and...
I'm like, this is filler. This is nonsense.
It does nothing. Nothing happens in the film. Nothing happens in the movie. It's like there's nothing. I think he dumps her. It's difficult because I watched all 5, so it's hard to remember because nothing happens in all of the films, so it's difficult to remember what specifically happens in each film. I think Robert Pattinson dumps Kristen Stewart, and he leaves, and she's quite sad about it.
Yeah,
and then he comes back, and then
they go to Italy.
It's exactly the same place as the first film ended. Nothing's happened. It's quite not that long a film, but it feels like it was very draining. I was looking forward to. And actually, Eclipse, the next one, is actually a good film. Third one is okay. Fourth and fifth, then are the worse than the first two.
Yeah, yeah.
But but the second one I was very disappointed by because I think Stephanie Meyer had a lot of say on the movie. I think that's the problem, is because she's clearly a fucking idiot, and I think that when she secured the rights for the film, she was like, I get to come in whenever I want to and say, because they keep a lot of stuff in the books, I think, that don't make any sense. Because as I said, yes, again, she's a fucking idiot. So I think that maybe this might be a situation of maybe the film is actually better than the book. Hopefully.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. My wife tricked us into watching them, essentially.
Yes.
So we do another part of the podcast, which is like where we watch a box set of movies we've never seen before. And my wife was like, "Oh, it'd be really nice if you did the Twilight one. We could watch them all together, and it'd be really nice because I like the movies." So I was like, "Okay, I'll talk to Dave and we'll do this podcast." And then after she was like, "No, I don't want to watch them. I just wanted to make you two watch them because it'd be funny." That's cheers. Thanks for that.
It was awful.
What do you think of the third one?
It's probably one of the better ones.
One, yeah.
It's the better one. It's the same thing about the bad movies. If you watch New Moon, you watch Eclipse. You're grateful for Eclipse.
Yeah.
You're really grateful.
Yeah.
Really grateful.
Yeah. And then the fourth one, this is the fourth one where she's just sat on a sofa for most of it. Like,
Fourth one is when they go on a honeymoon.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's a really weird one. Because what's hard about that, apparently, so my housemate who's read the books. The fourth one is that section, because the book's split in half. The first bit of that book is just like a very graphic sexual kind of adventure. But of course, the film has to be like a PG-13.
Yeah, to make money.
So there's so the fun and excitement of a book in which Stephanie Meyer is basically creaming herself on the page cannot, it just can't make it to which might have been something as a film, to watch Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart really go at it.
There is a scene where they fuck in the sea, basically, don't they? There's a bit in it, she loses her virginity in the sea. I was like, a horrible way to lose your virginity.
Yeah.
I don't think Stephanie Meyer's had sex before, because I don't. No one would ever want to have sex in the sea. No one. No one's ever wanted that. Terrible. Have you even tried to? Even walking through water. If you walk through water, waist length water, you go,
This is our work. Yeah.
This is really limiting my movement.
Yeah.
Really good. Absolutely terrible. And then, the first film is, and then the CGI baby, of course.
The CGI baby is.
Oh, the baby. I've forgotten. I blanked that from my mind.
Have you seen the. So they had have you seen the original, behind the scenes of it?
No.
No.
I've not delved that deep.
So they had an actual, you'd love this. They had a doll on the set, which was like the scariest thing I've seen in my entire life. There's footage of it. So they were going to use the doll and not use the The reason the CGI is so bad is because they had a doll, and the doll was meant to be in the film.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
There's an animatronic doll, and it's the scariest thing I've seen in my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, it's horrible. The cast has spoken openly about how horrible it's animatronic, so the eyes move and the face moves. It's disturbing. It's like a museum somewhere. It looks like it's like almost Chucky, kind of like. Oh. So that the reason they CGI'd the baby, I think a lot of people think that they wanted to fuse Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart's faces together,
right?
Like one of those apps or something.
Yeah.
But actually, makes even less sense is they actually got a doll, and the doll obviously was fucking crazy to look at. So they CGI'd over the doll, and that's why it looks so weird.
Oh wow! Okay, that explains that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first thing I'm going to do when this podcast ends.
Oh, honestly, it will shock you. And also, as I said, I had a sitcom. Even though we had a very small team of people, everything has to be thought through really carefully. Even on a small project like my show, this is probably people gearing up for what was probably going to be the biggest selling movie of that year. The budget for this film is crazy. You go, where has this budget gone? Use that budget and hire a baby. What are you doing?
They can't be expensive.
No one can, in the history of films, no one has ever hired a baby. And everyone's gone, that baby looks nothing like the mother, the parents of the movie.
Yeah.
Just get a baby. You can find a baby that looks a little bit like Robin Pattinson. That's not.
Yeah, that shouldn't be that hard, surely.
Yeah. It's absolutely bizarre choice. And the last film, we had a breakdown in the last film when that sequence where it's like the middle of the battle and then it's like a dream.
Yeah,
the whole series is pointless. Yeah.
It was like we howled with laughter. We were like on the floor. We couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe that it was a dream.
Yeah,
it was a dream, and then it just finishes. It just ends. It was like it was one of the funniest things.
We did a live watch along with it. So we recorded ourselves live watching it, and I think at that point, because I'd never seen any of these movies until we started watching them. I think at that point I just screamed like, "What the fuck!"
It's unbelievable. But I always thought it was so cliche. I was like, was this where the cliche comes from? Of it was just a dream. You wake up, the writing is so bad.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, this is where this comes from. But I don't think it was. Yeah,
no,
but crazy.
Well, I think I'm going to change the question from what is the most disappointing, what sequel makes you most angry in the future, but that's a good one. Let's go on to this is now what is your worst sequel ever?
Speed 2 is the worst sequel.
2.
It's the right answer. It is the right answer.
So I know this. Well, maybe not at the time of recording this, but at one point, what do you think? So when I actually watched this, what do you reckon the percent on Rotten Tomatoes this is?
Oh, it's low, isn't it?
6 or something, isn't it?
When I first watched it, it was 3.
Wow.
3.
I don't know what it is now, but it was 3 at the time. Yeah, it's just it's one of those movies that it's like I think it gets into it's so bad it's good. Like it was one of the few films that I enjoyed watching in the series because just how fucking ridiculous the concept is so stupid. I mean, it's called Cruise Control. I read halfway through the movie it was called Cruise Control because it's on a cruise.
Yeah,
I think there's so many things about it to enjoy. There's Keanu Reeves. They've replaced him with a random man who's but they've kept Sandra Bullock, who actually recently said that she still regrets doing that film. Willem Dafoe's in this film. He's got leeches. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The whole film is set on a cruise, a famously slow, something that's very slow.
Yeah.
But the stakes are completely almost not even there. It's like, on a bus, you get it. Like you go, if you explain speed to someone, the premise is like, you get it immediately. You're like, okay, he can't stop the bus. That would be a problem.
Yeah.
In a city.
In Speed 2, it's like, in 3 hours, we're going to hit that ship.
Yeah, it's like the sea is famously really big and like really hard to crash into anything. There's like a really weird storyline with like there's like a 14-year-old kid who fancies
Jason Patrick.
And he basically doesn't even say no.
No,
he just says it's great. He didn't say no. He just says he says long-term relationships don't work out of extreme situations or something like that. So he doesn't say no to the 14-year-old kid. So that's like a weird thing in which he's like trying to he's kind of like half deterring this child. And the director really there's a moment in it where the child is like sucking a lollipop. It's like she's like doing something weird she's like making eye contact with eating food, and he's like she's trying to like be sexy with him. And the camera like pans down her whole body, and it's like it does like a little like it's like, what the fuck are you doing? This is a child. Anyway, it's really weird. It's really odd. My favorite thing about the movie is at the end where like the movie is kind of wrapping up and they've still not managed to stop the ship, which is just like mad. Like just like drive it until it runs out of petrol. Like that's what famously ships have to restock the fuel quite a lot. Like just anyway, they hit like a one boat, this guy's fishing boat, which explodes. Anyway, it's a sailboat.
Yeah.
It's a sailboat, and it explodes. It's great. And then there's one character called Dante who I really liked. I really clung on to. He goes, "Oh my god, the boat slowed down slightly when we hit that boat." So the plan of the movie, how they finish it, is they just drive it into a small village in Jamaica. They just drive it through a village, and I mean, it's clear to see they're killing hundreds of people.
Yeah.
It's they're destroying businesses, homes. It's so funny, and the ship is so big. It's like bigger than the island that this fucking Jamaican village is on. People are still driving into it. It's so funny, and they eventually stops once it's destroyed the entire village, and then this very emotional music where they're all high-fiving each other. And it's just like it's so funny that the last shot is it zooms out to reveal what the ferry and this giant cruise ship, and it's like it's literally you can see it's just destroyed a whole town. It's this like really emotional scene of which they finally, of course, like I can't believe they were like we never thought to drive it through something to stop it. It's like that's the whole premise of the film is that you don't want it to drive into anything. That's the problem. It's like, well, the ship can't stop, it gets hit something, that's a problem. But at the end of the movie you go, well, we solved this by driving it through something. It's just so it's the worst. It'd be like at the end of Speed if Keanu Reeves was like, I think I'll just let the bus explode. Like I'll just drive it into an embassy And like the bus explode.
And of all the things, like, they just let it crash into a town when about 200 yards up the coast is a nice big beach that you could just, like, let it crash into the sand.
I can't believe this. I think there is a plot point where they can't steer it, so it's just going straight. It's been programmed to drive straight.
Right, okay.
It's still shit.
They still turn the boat, though. They still find a way to turn it.
Because they turn it away from
They go under the ship, and then they manually turn the rudder. So they can turn the boat at that point, yeah.
You're 100% right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. By the way, it's on 4% on Rotten Tomatoes now. So
it's a 4%, so yeah.
So it's people are starting to like it.
It's getting a renaissance.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Well, it's on Disney Plus now. A lot of people seem to be catching on to it now. Did you first watch it for your podcast? Or had you watched it before that?
No, I watched it for the podcast. It's very bad. I think it was one of the ones I actually enjoyed. So it's a bad sequel because Speed was so good.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those films that I think you'd sit down and probably enjoy. Like, I think it's very silly. You know, Willem Dafoe as well, you know.
He's having the best time.
Oh, having the best time. The man with the weirdest face in Hollywood. Just having the weirdest time with his leeches. He calls them his boys.
In a completely different movie to everyone else. Like,
Willem Dafoe. What a great guy. I think in the Spider-Man, they shouldn't have put in the last Spider-Man movie where he's in, they don't put the mask, they destroy the mask. And it's because his face is scarier than the Green Goblin. He's more goblin-y than an actual picture of a goblin. Willem Dafoe. With the greatest respect to Willem Dafoe, he's got goblin face and he's got it bad.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the grin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just is a goblin.
Yeah.
I don't even know what a goblin is really, but I think that it's Willem Dafoe.
It's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
We've watched this a few times now. People have picked.
Yeah, it crops up sort of once a series, I think, ish.
And I think it is because Speed is so good. I'm guessing, did you watch that when you were younger, Speed 1?
So I hadn't seen Speed at the time I watched the sequel.
Wow. Okay.
So I was.
Oh, you must have been very surprised how good that first film was then.
Yeah. This, Speed 2. Yeah, I still like Speed 2 because I had a big laugh watching it. A lot of these films you don't have a big laugh watching. You know, watching a 3% film that is actually a 3% film is really hard. Really hard. Like, it's almost like we take breaks, and it's really. At the end, the mood is like really bad. Like, it's just, it feels like I've been to a funeral at the end. I'm actually thinking about it now. It's giving me PTSD because we did it weekly. So it was my least favorite part of the week to watch it was just, and then also because I edit the videos.
Oh, okay. Right.
So I'd watch the film 3 times by the end. So for a lot of people, it was like, thank God we get to leave. And then people would leave my house, and then I would edit.
So you have to keep watching the same clips and same scenes over and over again.
Yeah, I'd have to find the worst ones.
The worst ones.
So the video would be like a compilation of the worst scenes that we'd watched.
And what were the worst scenes in Speed 2? Can I ask? Can you remember?
There was definitely the child, where the weird romance with the child was really hard. It's really. I don't know if there was a time in Hollywood in which that was like okay. I don't know if at the time people were like, okay, this is like normal for like.
I mean, it only came out. It was 1997. This film came out, so it's not even that long ago, really.
Doesn't the dad even say pretty much say you're dressing like a slut, pretty much?
Yeah, I think there was something like that. Yeah, it's not great. The Willem Dafoe with the leeches was a lot of fun. There's no reason for him to have a lot of leeches.
No.
Doesn't get explained, does it?
He just has a jar of leeches, and I really like that. I like that his jar of leeches that he brings with him everywhere. Just not explained. Yeah, fantastic. Why not?
So how many people did you make watch Speed 2? Was it just one guest on the podcast?
So it was my co-host, and then a comedian called Takisa. And I think she left at one point. You can see her leave. She at one point she just gets up and walks out of the room. And I ask her if she's okay, and she says, "Mind your business," because she's so upset. Yeah, she just walks off. A lot of people have to like get up and walk around. If you want to fight the worst film we ever watched, the one that I was like almost like I couldn't bear I think it was movie 43.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've not heard of that.
Yeah, it's actually very. If you watch it and then you Wikipedia it, it's fascinating. It's more the things behind that scene are more interesting than what's on screen actually. Movie 43 is like it's kind of a sketch show, but a movie. But they've basically got Hollywood A-listers to do it.
Yeah.
And the film is so bad that basically all their agents said they couldn't promote the film. So this film is not promoted. It's got like literally A-list actors, like A-list actors that are like even A-listers actors still to this day, and it's completely insane. The sketches go from mildly funny to maybe some of the worst jokes you've seen in your entire life that have aged terribly. It's absolutely crazy. There's a narrative, but it's so bad that you almost can't believe what you're watching. It's fascinating. There's Stephen Merchant he gets surgery at one point. Stephen Merchant and Halle Berry, like they go, it's almost unbelievable. Like they go on a date, but the sketches that the date is going, they're trying to like outdo each other in how spontaneous they're being on a date, and they eventually it ends with Halle Berry getting like a giant boob job, which is like it's like, and then Stephen Merchant goes Chinese, so he does Chinese. He's he has his eyes like surgically he does the eyes.
Wow,
that's the best way of saying it.
Okay,
just the eyes, and then he the buck teeth and stuff. It's absolutely, and that's not even top 5 worst things in that movie. It's absolutely crazy. There is a film called what's it called, Mac and Me. I think.
Oh, we've seen Mac and Me.
We've seen Mac and Me. Yeah,
yeah, of Paul Rudd fame. That film, I think I've never laughed harder at anything in my entire life. I think
so good.
I watched that we watched that with Nick Helm.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That is probably the hardest I've laughed in my entire life. So you actually see that online. They're still on YouTube, those videos.
We'll find
the series are called Comedians Watch the Worst. But if you watch that, if you watch just one, watch the Mac and Me one, because I'm not really much of a laugher. I'm crying throughout the entire film. It was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen in my entire life. To have an ET film rip off, but it's like paid for by McDonald's. So it's just like, the whole film, the climax of the movie is set at McDonald's.
We have had a guest on this podcast pick it as their dream sequel. So their dream sequel is a sequel to Mac and Me.
Wow, that's great. That's great. I actually wish that was my dream sequel.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah, it's mad. Yeah. It's very hard to get hold of as well, Mac and Me.
We had to order the DVDs. The thing is, though, is like what's good about them is that they're online. A lot of these, some of the bigger film companies really strict on having their films online, pirated stuff. They're really on it. But with some of these bad films, the companies obviously just don't care about them. So you can find them. Some of them are quite easy to find because no one's bothered to even, legally take responsibility for it. But we bought the DVDs just in case we couldn't find one. So we actually, I have a DVD of every. It's
what a collection you have.
Yeah, it's a bit like people have their bookshelves in the back of Zooms, and you see my one. It's just like the worst 100 films ever made or whatever.
Oh wow.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write 1 million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Save big with Kroger's 12 Merry Days of Deals. From December 4th through the 15th, you can clip a hot new deal each day on our app or website. And if you're a Boost member, you can save even more. So don't miss out and be sure to check our app or website every day from December 4th through the 15th to clip each day's hot new deal. It's 12 merry days of deals, a holly jolly way to save for the holidays at Kroger.
I've got another little question before Dream, sorry. It is, what sequel seemed like a bad idea, but you ended up liking? You did mention Puss in Boots 2 earlier, as in that
Puss
kind
in
of...
Boots 2, Shrek 2 seemed like a bad idea, because it's like, Shrek is a great movie. Shrek 2 is really good. Shrek 2 is really good.
Yeah.
What else? I'm trying to think of other things that...
Are you a franchisey kind of guy? Or
I quite like a franchise. I quite like a franchise.
A lot of people go with like Fast and Furious, kind of 5. That was
Mission Impossible,
not expected.
Bonds,
Yeah, Mission Impossible, Bond,
Marvel films, Police Academies. Horror is quite popular because they're a fucking roller coaster of a ride. Some of those.
Apparently, Smile 2 is really good.
We've just watched it. We loved it.
Smile 2 is very good. Like I was really surprised at how good that is. Yeah.
So much better than the first one, I thought.
Well, I think it's one of those films that you don't really want to. You know, the Smile movie is based off the concept that someone smiling creepily it's creepy.
Yeah,
which is like it is.
Get it?
It is creepy.
So it's like, it's creepy. But is that good for a franchise? A franchise of just the concept that smiling is quite creepy. Apparently, the Orphan. That Orphan, the second film's pretty good, actually. I heard. Apparently.
I haven't seen either of them.
No.
Isn't the second one a prequel? Have I made that up?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a prequel, but they've got the actress is really good in it. I think.
Yeah.
Does a good job. I don't know. There's a movie that I was surprised the second one was good.
I think Shrek 2 is a good shout, though.
Shrek 2 is a good shout because I think it is better than Shrek 1.
Yes, we agree with you.
It did feel like Shrek was like it just happened to be good at the time. It's just everything lined up, and it does. And there's a lot of like cultural references in it. It's kind of a bit like of its time, but it still is great. Like I think a lot of the references when I watched Shrek for the first time, I didn't understand because I was probably too young. Some of the songs I didn't recognize, but I still think it was a great movie.
Yeah,
at the time. Yeah. So I think the same thing with Shrek. I think you can enjoy Shrek 2 regardless of whether you understand what the references are.
Yeah, I
think so. It's a much better film. When did you see that? When was that? Where was Shrek 2 now? That's like 20 odd years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, it must be.
In my head, that still feels like it's a few years ago.
2004. Yeah, Shrek 2. Yeah.
They're doing a Shrek 5 now, aren't they?
Yes.
You excited for that one?
Yeah, I'm excited for them to make lots of references to smartphones or that something. They'll have a TikTok joke in there or something.
Oh yeah,
looking forward to that.
A few more Smash Mouth songs, probably.
Are there any more?
Yeah.
Brat Summer.
Oh yeah.
A reference to Brat Summer in Shrek 5. Yeah.
Do you want the same kind of animation as Puss in Boots 2? Is that the kind of thing you want for the next Shrek films, or do you think it's going to be?
No, I want the OG Shrek. I want Shrek.
The classic.
Yeah, I want Shrek. It's interesting with Shrek. This is an interesting one. With Shrek, in the first opening sequence of Shrek, there's a bit where he's like, there's that montage of the Smash Mouth montage. At one point, he puts an eyeball in his glass. Do you remember it? He gets a cocktail. There's an eyeball through there.
Yeah.
Are we saying then that Shrek eats humans?
Yeah.
Wouldn't put it past him.
If so, maybe he's not a great guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, fair enough. Fair enough if he's like, if the villagers don't like him.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, oh, poor Shrek, he's in a swamp. He killed a human and is putting their eyes in the glass. Like, he's eating people. 100% they should be killing him. He's a problem. He's toxic. I think that when Shrek 5 comes out, I'm going to lead a campaign being like, cancel. You know, when you go through someone's old tweets?
Yeah.
They cancel Chris Rock from doing the Oscars. We cancel Shrek before Shrek 5 being like, remember when you used to
eat people? Yeah.
Probably children. A serious offence. He's a murderer. It's not as if he's like, because some parts of it is just disgusting. It's like he bathes in mud and he eats a slug.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that is disgusting, but not worth being. Whose eye is that? Anyway. If he has to hit a human, 100% hunt him down with torches.
And he's got kids now.
And he's got kids. Well, what's he teaching them? They're not going to school. They're being homeschooled.
I think. It could turn out to be like one of those Winnie the Pooh rip-offs. Once the copyrights ended, you can make the film however you want it. And you can you can go and make that version of Shrek.
In like 100 years' time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like that, like Winnie the Winnie the Pooh one where they did a horror one.
Yeah. And a Grinch one.
And so you could have Shrek be like actually a village. It's in the style of the Witch. It's a proper serious Robert Eggers film, but it's Shrek who lives in the woods in the swamp. It's the Shrek in the swamp. Yeah,
brilliant.
On to the last one now. What is your dream sequel?
My dream sequel is The Purge, and I know there have been people going,
many.
What are you talking about? There's loads of Purge sequels. No, I'm talking about I'm talking. Yeah, go ahead.
There's four sequels. One of them's a prequel, and there's 2 series of a TV series as well. So there's a lot.
I think the best version of a Purge sequel is the day after the Purge. So when everyone goes back to work.
Right.
Because the dynamic there is more interesting than the actual Purge.
Yeah, absolutely.
The situation is you hate your boss. You go to your boss's house during the Purge. You kill his kids. You kill his kids. And then it's like you go, next day you have to go to work. How is that dealt with? You can't fire someone at work for something personal.
No.
That outside of work. That's it's in the Purge, so it's legal. So nothing they've done is illegal. You can't go to HR and be like, "You killed my kids." Well, that was Purge time. That's perfectly fine. Do they then have to just is everyone just like bitter about it, or is the boss like, to be fair to you, that was the Purge?
Yeah.
We were talking about exactly the same thing just before you turned up. I was like, how do you look people in the eye afterwards?
Yeah,
just because
exactly.
it's legal doesn't mean it's like
are people
acceptable.
open about it?
Yeah.
Being like, what did you do in the Purge? I was like, I protected my family. What did you do? It's like, I went into a sex shop and I put all the dildos on my ass and then I put them back on the shelves. And it's like, that's fine because that's the Purge and you do what you want in the Purge. I went to a dog's home and then I just killed all the dogs in the dog's home because I was just that's what I like to. Is there is it no judgment kind of a thing about, I killed my dad. I killed my dad. Someone said to me recently what they do in the Purge is they do their tax in the Purge.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They misdo their tax.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's someone that's getting their house robbed and then getting killed.
Yeah. Have you actually watched all the Purge films now then, or are you just a fan of the first one?
No, but I know they wouldn't have done. They know they wouldn't have done the day after the Purge. I think that's a good sitcom.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great bit. Annoyingly, in the last Purge, 'cause I've just watched it, it's called Purge Forever, and it is about the day after. It's not like that. It's just it's about people. The Purge has happened, and then the Purge was meant to end, but people have still gone crazy. So the Purge, it's called Purge Forever, basically.
Oh, so they're just is it with the spot of the 4? Like fan 4 stick?
No, sadly not.
4? 7,
yeah.
7. So Vivian, was it? How do you say that? It's like 7.
Yeah,
7.
7? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, to me, that's not interesting to have the Purge going forever.
You want a Purge like comedy.
I want Purge. I want to know what the dynamics are after the Purge, because it's a universe now. We can agree.
Yes.
I want to see the day after the Purge. I want to see, if for example, if you let's say there's a wife really hates her husband. He's a real wrong one. She tries to kill him. He survives the Purge. The next day they're like, that's just you almost got me in the Purge, and then it's like, carry on, or is it, because if it's an established thing, then people go like, oh, are you purging tomorrow? Like Halloween, are you going trick or treat?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sort of is like that in the first movie, isn't it? It's like, oh, look, they're out hunting, they're out purging.
Oh, they're out purging.
Look at them, see them on the cameras, the neighbours are out purging.
But I love the Purge. I think the concept of the Purge is so stupid, but I think it's great, and I think that it's really funny because it doesn't make any sense. Like it's like, is this if that would solve the problems of society, in which it's like you had to like imagine if every single year you had to like rebuild an entire community.
Yeah, right.
Every year you had to just like rebuild all the buildings people have burnt down every single year. Like what a drain that would be on. It's like, oh, but there's no police. We're not paying police officers for the whole year. But seemingly like someone can just like set off an atomic bomb, like just destroy all of London with an atomic bomb. And that's absolutely fine. And then it's like, but yeah, you know, whatever.
If everything's legal, they could do like mass terrorism, like just just destroy America.
I love that.
It's all legal. It's fine.
It's all legal. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you moving to? America. Why? Oh, do some purging.
yeah. Do purging in America. I love the purge.
I love how it stops on the borders as well. So like in the last film, they're like, stuff's going wrong, and then Canada and Mexico both open their borders for 6 hours or something. Like that would stop it crossing borders.
Oh yeah, you go to the purge. You go, I'm going on holiday to Mexico for a week.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. I think, mate. Yeah. I would you guys be an attacker or a defender in the purge?
This is a great question.
100% a defender. Like I'm
very lazy.
I'm not interested in going out and, you know, I'm 43. I've got far more things going on. You know, I can't be arsed with all that.
Yeah, but whether you're arsed or not, it's coming for you.
Yeah. We'll just go to France for the week. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, have a nice French purge. I think the best strategy in the purge is to be an attacker. But so you just pretend to be so the attackers aren't really going after each other. They're going after the defenders. So
okay. Yeah.
So you're kind of in the same way, the riots, like you want to be people in the background stealing a big kilogram of rice or something.
Yeah.
So that I love, if you say to yourself, I love the purge, huge fan, everyone goes, well, I love the purge too, and I don't want to take your purge away.
Yeah.
So I think if you were like going, you went out and you were like, I'm gonna kill, everyone. But you just secretly hide in the park for a bit, and then every now and then someone goes by, keep on purging.
Yeah.
I think you're safer in a big crowd purging than you are in a house. So for me, I would go out and purge, but I would sort of do it quite quietly.
Yeah, purgers don't go after purgers.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So I'll just go out and just not recycle or something, and that's
I put on a big scary mask and be like,
yeah.
he must be up to no good. I'm like, but I'm actually just, I'm hiding in the cinema.
Yeah, take out my dog and just let it shit wherever.
Oh yeah,
that is proper purging.
Purging, yeah.
Can't kill me now.
Yeah.
I'd
say what I want to on stage, finally. I'd finally get to say what I want.
To who you want.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the dream. I think that's the way forward with the purge, because it is slowly that franchise, because you said it is a franchise now, is petering off. And I think that's the next step is comedy.
Yeah, we are definitely due a comedy set the day after the purge.
Would you attempt to write it? Have you got any ideas you'd like to put in it? Or
well, it's interesting to write a show for a sort of a franchise in which you might not have the rights to.
Hey, we'll talk to someone. It's Michael Bay.
Someone, yeah. Too many times have I been like, that'd be really good idea, and I was like, legally, you actually can't do that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh.
But it would be cool to have like an office style post purge.
Yeah.
Yeah. The day after the purge.
I think there's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I maybe contacted the guys that made the purge, and I was like,
because it'd be like what we do in the shadows, kind of comedy, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a bit of.
So it can still be violent and a bit sick and stuff, but funny.
Yeah. So the whole series is the countdown to the next purge.
Yeah.
So every season is the day after the purge, and then the finale is right before the last purge, and then season break, and then it's the purge and the season break, and you come back the day after the purge.
Would you have like a Leslie Knope character from like Parks and Rec? Like
sure. Yeah.
Trying to organise it.
Yeah,
I think, because this is a Blumhouse production, he's quite vocal on whatever we're going to call it, Twitter, whatever. I think he'll be up for this.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to tag him in, see where it goes.
Yeah, I'll tweet him. I'll tweet the purge.
It's a great idea, though.
Those were Huge Davies' Unequal sequels. I think it was another lovely choice. So
great choices.
It's sort of did my favourite thing, where it's a movie that I love.
Yes.
A movie that is so bad that it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then a dream sequel that I've never actually seen before, so I get to watch something new.
Yeah, it's a great week. It was a chaotic episode, to be honest. Huge is very funny.
Yeah.
And he certainly brought that to the podcast. We laughed a lot through that one. It is a little bit silly and mental, especially that dream sequel idea. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, the man loved Across the Spider-Verse. He does admit that it's probably not his favourite ever sequel. It's just the most recent one he's pretty much watched that he liked, which is fine.
It's a good choice. It's a good choice.
It's a great choice. I watched it again. I loved it.
It's one that's come up before. I think Kobe picked it, didn't he, back in season 5? You know, and I don't know if it's come up in other people's, but it's definitely one we've talked about. And it's definitely definitely one that we both like. So that's good.
And Speed 2 is coming up.
Speed 2, again, that's come up a few times as well. I mean, Jamie East picked that, didn't he? And Giles Alderton picked Speed 2.
Yes.
Who else? We've definitely had it picked before, haven't we? Oh, Ian Nathan back in season 2 picked Speed 2.
That's a good one. Good stories about that one.
And not only that, me and you went on the Getting Defoe You podcast. And we talked about Speed 2 on that as well, didn't we?
A lot of Speed 2.
We've had a lot of Speed 2, yeah.
And Huge has watched it for his podcast series on YouTube, Comedians Watch the Worst, where he watched the top or bottom 100 films with the lowest ratings and then made his friends watch them. And that's a funny episode if you want to go and watch that on Speed 2. It's great. It is a terrible sequel. And it is laughable. It's not like it is bad, but it is also quite watchable in a strange, funny way because there are mental pop lines.
It's not one of those ones that say bad, it's good, but it's so incredibly bad, it's nice to laugh at.
I think I've gone through the other side with it now. Okay. Yeah, I think.
I have good memories of Speed 2 only because of all the podcast stuff we've done on it.
Yeah, me too. And William Dafoe is always mental and leeches and the weird sign language girl and not having Keanu Reeves. Anyway, dream sequel, The Purge, which he wants to make a comedy series set the day after The Purge.
Which I really love.
Like The Office, which is really funny. We have some really good discussions about that and ideas about that. Huge's episode, when we recorded it, I think I blacked out for most of it because, again, I was like, oh, cool, we're recording with Huge Davies. That's great. And then I was so nervous about getting stuff in the can and it not fucking up. Like when I came to edit it, I was like, this is a really funny episode. I thought we recorded for like 10 minutes and I was really worried that we didn't make it for our whole episode. Anyway, we recorded for an hour and 40 minutes.
Nice.
So...
Yeah.
And Another Slice Chat is very funny, by the way. I won't tell you what we go into.
No, only if you go and join us. It's only for super special slices.
Only for super special slices. Thank you to Huge for coming on and being funny and talking with us and telling us your best, worst and dream sequels. Go check out his new tour. It's starting in February. Rich, what's it called?
It's called Album for My Ancestors, open brackets, dead, close brackets. And I think we should go and see it, Dave. Let's have a podcast day out. And
he is touring the country. It'll be very funny. He's a very funny, dry man, but really enjoyed. Go check out we talk about it a lot, the podcast series he did with other comedians, podcast Watch the Worst. Go watch the one he does with Nick Helm when he talks about Mac and Me. It is fucking great. It's really funny. Well worth your time. Also, go check out his podcast called Slime Country with Ed Knight and Sunil Patel, and they basically read really weird fan fiction, and it's really mad. You might have heard him talk about it on the Off Menu episode he did with Ed Gamble and James Acaster. It's mad. But anyway, go check him out. He's great. You can go check out his clips.
Yeah, go onto YouTube. He's got a whole special on YouTube. You can watch it for free.
Go watch that. The man's everywhere. And one day, I believe he's going to be on Taskmaster because he'll be perfect.
Oh, he'd be so good on Taskmaster.
So good.
Yeah, he really would.
Anyway, Rich, but over to you.
Yeah, I mean, you've sort of done a lot of my job for me there, mate.
Well, that's what I do.
That was quite nice of you, seeing as, it's the last interview episode of this season before our big Christmas special next week.
Oh my God.
So we can announce our brilliant Christmas special.
I think it's time. Yeah.
I think it's time. It's coming next week. We're not doing Unequal Sequel.
Nope.
We decided we're not gonna do it.
Nope.
We're actually doing Unequal Sequelizers. That's it. Yeah. We're doing a mashup, a crossover, one of those popular things that people do these days with our good friends on the Sequelizers. We're going over to Norwich, where those guys are from. We're going to record in person.
Yes, we are.
Wild.
It's going to be fun, man.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
We can also announce what the actual plan is. So the plan of the crossover is they normally fix bad sequels.
They are, yeah.
But on this episode, me and Rich, are going on Sequelizers to pitch a dream sequel. And that dream sequel is Gremlins 3.
Oh, yes, it is.
And it has to be set at Christmas, hence the Christmas theme we're going for.
Because Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
It is.
I don't care what anyone says. Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
It's definitely a Christmas movie.
Gremlins 2, not so much.
No Christmas movie, it seems.
But Gremlins is a Christmas movie, and we are doing our Gremlins 3. We're pitching it to the Sequelizers, and they're then going to tear it apart.
So it's the crossover of all dreams, Rob. It's like when McFly and Busted got together and made McBusted.
We're the McBusted of podcasting.
Unequal Sequelizers. It's actually happening. We've been talking about it for a while. They said yes to it. We got happy. Then we realised we had to write a pitch to the people that do this all the time. So we're quite scared about that. Rich has been hard at work, tapping some buttons, dreaming up a sequel to Gremlins 3. And I have to say it's pretty good. So
I think it's all right.
I think it's good.
I think it's very Gremlins.
We'll go under the spotlight of what the Sequelizers do and what Matt, Tim, and Jack do. Can't wait to be in the room with them to record. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's coming next week. That's going to be season 7, episode 12. That's what's happening. Be prepared.
And it's not. If you listen to us and the Sequelizers podcast, then you're going to get it twice.
Yeah.
Because we're releasing it on our feed and on their feed. It's a proper crossover.
It is. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. This is what I've been excited about for months. I'm just like,
Here it is.
But yeah, if you want to, you need to follow us on social media. We're on all of them, even The Bad Place, which we are in the process of leaving, but you can follow us on there if you really want to. Yeah, just type in Unequal Sequel and wherever you do your social mediaing, and you'll find us. You can also email us if you want to. Let us know what you thought of Huge Davies's picks. We are unequalsequel@hotmail.com. If you really like us, then please do hit the subscribe button, hit the auto-download button, drop into your pod player of choice every single week. If you really, really like us, as Dave's mentioned, you can get yourself onto another slice.com/unequal sequel, where for just $2.99 a month, which by the way is a bargain, you can join become one of our super special slices, and you'll get 3 extra podcasts. You'll get a sequel session to this episode, so you'll be able to hear all the funny stuff we talked about with Huge that's not in the main episode. You'll be able to listen to Disenfranchised, which is our podcast where we talk about movies that should have had sequels, so should have had franchises but didn't, and Box Set Mentality, where we watch a whole box set of movies and we talk to you about each one of them, do a ranking, that kind of thing. It's good fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's great fun. So come and join us over there. Also, if you wouldn't mind going onto your pod player of choice and giving us a rating, 5 stars would be amazing. Not only does it help people find the podcast, but it will also help us become certified Rotten Tomatoes critics, which is, it's my goal for 2025.
Yeah, we've got a few goals for 2025. We'll talk about them more in our big yearly roundup, I think, in January. If anyone can get in contact with me and tell me your best bits of season 7, that would be fantastic. We'll be putting some of the best bits together for the what we do after the season's released. Thank you to everyone that's listened so far. Christmas is well and truly on the way, so hopefully everyone's in a good mood. And I think that's all I'm going to tell you. Oh, another slice works about £36 a year, so that's bargain.
That's a brilliant Christmas present for someone.
Yep. And if you want to, get us a Christmas present, get it for yourself, and that would help us.
I might get it for all my family for Christmas.
That means you're paying for it, though.
Well, yeah, but it's instead of Christmas presents, which we would have paid for anyway.
That's true. Get more
true.
reviews.
Not that any of them listen to this podcast.
Oh. Our families love us. It's fine. I've got nothing else to say, so it's a bye-bye from me. Bye-bye. It's a bye-bye from him.
Bye!
See you on the next one. Stick with this one. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Wow. I never thought we'd finish this season 7. When we started, I thought we've run out of people. And then it's been brilliant.
We promised the people a 2-season year.
We did.
We did it.
And we just scraped it in there.
Yeah. Doesn't matter how scrapey it was.
Do we promise
them
a 2-season year next year too?
I think that's the current plan, isn't it?
It is the current plan, yeah.
The current plan is 2 years every year.
So that does mean that we'll hit our 100th episode next year, which means the people get to hear our best, worst and dream sequel.
Finally. The correct answers to what everyone's been.
We will disagree.
Yeah. Can't wait for that.